For years now, one of the false claims that the right has been throwing at the left in the United States is that the left wants to defund the police. Now, we've covered this so extensively. Certainly, you can go on Twitter or Reddit and find some people who say defund the police or all cops are bastards or whatever slogan they come up with. But overwhelmingly, no one wants to defund the police, even those in the Democratic Party. The vast majority say we need to reform the police. I've put out a pretty extensive 8 to 10 point plan on how to improve policing. And this includes training and retraining of different kinds. This includes demilitarization. This includes, yes, having an unarmed force that can respond to certain types of calls. But in some cases, it actually might involve funding the police more in order to get police away from the low-hanging fruit policing that actually causes the problems. Anyway, the point is, you know as well as I do, I'm sure, that defund the police exists almost nowhere and has no influence on the mainstream Democratic Party. And suddenly, Republican Congressman Jim Jordan says he's going to defund the police because Trump was indicted. Now, he's talking, of course, of federal police, and it's become very popular for Republicans to go after federal police. Let's take a look at this clip. This is from the Maria Bartiromo program over the weekend. Take a listen.
Legislation, write laws, and pass legislation. So we'll look at that. Okay. And maybe most importantly, Maria, is we control the power of the purse. And we're going to have to look at the appropriations process and limit funds going to some of these agencies, particularly the ones who are engaged in the most egregious behavior.
So the DOJ and the FBI.
Yeah, and what I'd really like, frankly.
Yeah, the DOJ and the FBI, they want to defund federal police. They say we are for law and order and against defunding the police. But all of a sudden, Donald Trump has to comply with the law and the legal orders, as they love to obsess with, of law enforcement and prosecutors and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, they say, get rid of the entire department, defund the FBI, defund the DOJ. These are the very same people who, while saying we support the police and you're bad for wanting to defund the police, were on the side of the rioters rather than the police when it came to the January 6th riotous insurrection. And in this particular case with Trump, and we still, listen, it's going to be a while until we know the full scope of what the repercussions are going to be. We don't know if Trump will be indicted in Georgia. We don't know if the Mar-a-Lago search warrant is going to lead to an indictment. This first arrest and indictment may only be the tip of the iceberg, for lack of a better term. We don't know. But all of a sudden, we have someone being potentially held accountable overwhelmingly for things that are on tapes of different kinds. I mean, Trump called Georgia and said, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. We have a recording and there may be crimes there. And all of a sudden they don't want accountability. They claim to be the party of personal responsibility. And yet they want to blame everyone other than the alleged criminal himself for what is taking place. And at its core, one of the aspects of this that we have to consider is they really seemed not to believe they might lose back in 2020. When in summer of 2020, Trump started with the Biden has no crowds at his rallies and he's in the basement and whatever else, all of that stuff, when all of that was going on back in 2020. And Trump started with that they're going to try to take it, they're going to take this, they're going to steal that, the other thing. They never thought they might just lose. They didn't really have a plan for what to do if they lost other than to lie and claim they won. And that devolved into so many other things. That's separate from the Stormy Daniels indictment that we're dealing with today. And so their principles mean nothing. And they are the ones. I mean, listen, have national Democrats called for a defunding of law enforcement the way that Jim Jordan does in this video? If they have, I certainly haven't seen any of those examples. So they are hypocrites. Hypocrisy knows no bounds. Republicans don't care about hypocrisy anymore, but we still have to deal with it on our end now that they want to do away with the very law enforcement agencies that are trying. They may not succeed, but at least they're trying to hold Trump and some of his cronies accountable.